Hey guys, welcome to another edition of RevsFanTV, where this week we'll be previewing the Revolution's home matchup against the Columbus Crew. It looks like the weather this weekend is going to be nice and warm, 41 and sunny. That's great for New England in March. Taking a look last week, though, at the Columbus Crew, they managed to get a 1-1 draw at home against the Red Bull. Red Bull were resting several starters, though, getting prepared for CONCACAF Champions League. That did not go too well yesterday, unfortunately. Just taking a quick preview of how Columbus played well against them. They had 13 shots on net, 4 on target, and they had 60% of the possession. They were 78% pass accuracy, so they had a really good game against the Red Bull, but only led to one chance created. Things to watch for are the 9 corners that they had. Last year, that was the Revolution's Achilles heel. We did not play well from set pieces or corners, so it's going to be interesting to see how we make out. Even though last week in Dallas, I thought we did much better. I thought we were the better team, both defending set pieces and actually creating the set pieces ourselves, which was nice to see. Unfortunately, Delamea didn't turn home that header that probably would have given us the 3 points, but it was nice to see. Columbus had a lot of fouls last week, 11 of them. And it seems that they had 6 offsides as well, which could bode well later in my type of prediction of what I think the game's going to be for the Revolution. I think they're going to have to play a little bit of an offsides trap to kind of counter the speed. And they did have 4 yellow cards. Again, like I said, Red Bulls rested several of their starters. There was no Bradley Wright Phillips, Royer, or Kaku played in this game. And a big thing that also struck me was that Columbus struggled really bad at right back dealing with Murillo. So it's going to be interesting to see the type of game that Brandon Bai has for us. Looking at a possible lineup, I think that we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 from Columbus. I think we'll see Zardes obviously leading the line, and you'll see Higuaín sitting behind him with Paul Santos playing out there on the right. And that, to me, I think Paul Santos is the X factor for them. I think that we'll do a good job locking down Higuaín. And I think that, like again, I said, I think we'll play a little bit of an offsides trap to try to limit Zardes' speed. I think the big player to watch, though, in all honesty, is the Brazilian new signing for them, Robinho, the 23-year-old winger from Brazil. He really came in and opened up the game against Red Bull. Probably gave them a better chance to win the game as the game went along, watching it on my recap. And now moving over to the Revolution, I think we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 again from them. I think it's safe to say that we're going to see Castillo playing again at left back. I think, though, hopefully that Messiaen finds himself back in the lineup, even though Andy Baba did really well. And I think he's going to be slotted next to Delamea again. And I think we're going to see Bai obviously back in there again, knowing that Farrell's out till mid-April. In the midfield, that's a debate for me. And I'll say why. I've touched base on this a couple times on Twitter and other aspects of the field. I think that we're going to see Edgar Castillo and Pinilla is going to have a great year, left back and left wing for us. I think that was actually a huge pickup getting Edgar Castillo. But the issue is that having Zahibo and Scotty playing the midfield together, they're not fleet of foot, so they definitely offer us, Zahibo is maybe a better crosser of the ball, but definitely doesn't have the foot to keep up. I think that's where we it's a tough one to say for me. I think Zahibo's a good midfielder for us, but he lacks that speed. And I think it really hurts us on the counterattack. And I really like Scotty. I think he plays a good number 6 role, clears everything off the back line. But to have the two of them on the field together at the same time, it's a risk for me. I think that we'll actually probably see Scotty line up on the left-hand side of the midfield. That's going to allow Castillo and Pinilla to have overlapping runs. That'll really limit the space. Having Scotty sit back in there, he did really well in our runs before when we had Tierney playing at left back. I think that's probably our best option. And I think that's why last week we didn't, I know Saicedo was coming back from injury, but I think that's the reason why last week we saw Teal over on the right wing instead of Diego, is that Teal's able to work rate is a little better on defense. He works a little harder on the ball, so actually gave Bai a little bit of cover so that we can allow that left side to play a little more attacking. But I think this week that we're going to see Saicedo back in the lineup. And with that said, I think it's going to be in the midfield. We're going to have Scotty on the left and Saicedo on the right-hand side of the midfield. Moving up towards the wing positions, I think, like I said, on the left wing, it's going to be Pinilla. I think sitting in at number 10 there, obviously, is Gil. And I think on the right side, we'll actually see Diego come back into the lineup this week. I think having Saicedo back in there will allow Bai to cover up for some of his defensive flaws right now in his career. Saicedo actually playing on the right-hand side would be very helpful to him, and you'll be able to have Diego actually has more of attacking options instead of Teal actually coming back and tracking a lot. In goalkeeper, I think you're going to have, again, I think we're going to see Knighton. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's Knighton's job to lose right now. And up front, I think we're going to see Juan's going to play up front. I know Teal's work rate is really good, but I think they're going to give Juan another run up front. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if we see Rennick get some significant minutes up top this week if Juan is actually struggling. Juan had a real tough game last week. But again, I just think with Dallas' speed, we kind of played the game a little differently. Hopefully this week will be a little different. Again, I actually think my keys to this game is going to be right down the left-hand side. I think we're going to have to see a lot of overlapping runs from Saicedo and from Pinilla. I think that'll really open the game for us. If Saicedo comes back in and can control that right-hand side of the midfield, it'll give Diego some more of an attacking option. I believe it'll leave Juan to be a little more free. Carlos will have his defensive roles to have to fill in, but I think Carlos is actually going to have to play up the field a lot more. You know, looking back at some last week, some keys from the game, I see Delamea had actually quite a good game. He had 1 assist, probably should have scored a goal as well. But the big thing that I saw last week from him, he had 3 interceptions in our own half. He had 8 dribbles in the opponent's half. It's really so well to have a defender play good out the back. I think, unfortunately, the Revs probably should have scored a second goal. He played that ball up and through to Bai. He got a little bit of a lucky bounce, but Bai played a good ball back across the box, and I think Juan, 9 out of 10 times probably would have finished that shot, or at least been asking to take another chance at that. And he had 5 successful long passes, Delamea. Gil had a really good game, and actually you could see how much the game actually went through him. He scored the 1 goal, obviously, in his 1 chance. But he had 26 passes that were completed in the opponent's half and 10 unsuccessful passes in the final third, which pretty much shows that he had 36 to 40 passes in the final attacking half of the opponent's field, which is going to make a big difference to see the ball being played through him. It will be interesting to see how Columbus picks up on him in his second game Major League Soccer. Again, that's why I think Diego coming on the right-hand wing is going to make a big difference. And again, he had 13 successful passes in the final third. My prediction for this week, I think it's going to be a 2-1 Revolution victory or a 3-2 victory. I know it's kind of tough to say, but I think the Revs are going to find a way to score this game. I think 2-1 is probably more what I lean to. I think that a lot of it's going to come down to how good Saicedo plays on the right and how much Scotty's able to contribute to the left-hand side of the defense in the midfield, that allowing for Saicedo and Pinilla to have some good runs. But again, I think we're going to see a good game from the Revolution. Looking at 2017 being a great year for us, where we had 12 home wins with 3 draws, followed by 2018 where we only had 7 home wins and 5 draws. All home points are going to matter. Tough to get points on the road. If we could be a team that can have a draw on the road, or a draw, win, loss on the road record, to be really good. A lot of teams struggle on the road in MLS. I think that's a cliche for the league. It's a really tough thing to do. It's a lot of travel. But I really hoping that March is going to be a good month for us. I think that we can actually get 13 points in the month of March. That draw in Dallas was nice to open the season. If we could follow with a home win against Columbus and then go on up to Toronto the following week, I think we can get a draw or a win there. Columbus is still waiting for the new DP to come in. They're in some transition. I'm not really lacking their forward. I know I'm kind of going in advance here for the rest of the schedule. But then you follow up with Cincinnati and Minnesota at home. I think the first month of the season is really pivotal that we get these home points. Welcome again to RevsTV. I'm glad that I got to help out with the preview this week. I look forward to seeing all you guys at the game on Sunday. Again, it's going to be some nice weather compared to what we've had in home openers in the past few years. So hopefully, you found this information, insightful, and I look forward to getting a big win on at home this week. All right, guys, go Revs. Thanks.